Oh, good. So we are live streaming. I just want to make sure this isn't recording or I'm going to hear my playback. I think I need to shut that. Okay. Hey, happy Monday. I'm Stefana. Welcome back to another Monday Morning Mentoring. I'm the creator of Yogalachi, where we blend yoga, Pilates, and Tai Chi to help you get the best results. And I am going to share a couple of cool things today. So I've got some tips around a subject that I know there's a lot of confusion out there, and I want to clear that up. So this information is about, it's actually directly tied to something that I'm going to be doing with this new free challenge next week. October is around the studio is mobility month. So we're focusing on mobility and really getting that. We've worked on stability and strength and core strength. So now we want to improve mobility. So in October, that's what we're focusing on. October 14th, we're going to do a 6-day mobility challenge, kind of a mobility makeover, and that is totally free. So I hope you'll join us for that. But pretty much all of us want to move better. We all want to be able to pick something up off the floor, get down, play with our kids on the floor or our grandkids. We want to be able to do things without feeling back pain. We want to be able to sit down, go downstairs, go upstairs without knee or joint pain. We want to be able to get in and out of our car without neck pain, right? We want to be able to essentially function without pain. And if you're really into fitness, maybe if you're doing squats, maybe you want to do better squats. Mobility has everything to do with exceptional squats. And squatting is really what we should be doing every day, right? When we're sitting, if you sit properly, you're going to be sitting, you're squatting. So mobility has everything to do with that optimal function and staying pain-free. And one of the things, anyway, you get the picture, right? So one of the things that I like to focus on are these components of the body. So I'll just focus on, like when I was focusing on strength and stability, we know that there's a joint in the body that is stable, and next to it, there's going to be a mobile joint. So with regards to the mobile joints that we have, we also have to have a point of stability. And here's an example with the neck, okay? So the neck, cervical specifically, the cervical spine should be a stable joint, right? So if it's not and it's hypermobile, we call that whiplash, right? Shoulders, the next joint to that cervical spine, should be mobile. And if they're stuck, think about what joint is next, the cervical, and then that's having to compensate in mobility. So then we get all of these tight positions, tight neck where you can't turn because it's been hypermobile. So if your head's forward all day long, this is actually not where it should be. We need it to be stable in this position so that then the shoulders can do their job. We don't want to be going forward with the head, right? We want the shoulders to be able to reach and the thoracic mobility to be there. So we're going to focus a lot on that for the 6-day makeover. That is a really, really big piece of pain issues. And we'll dive deep in that over those 6 days. One of the other things around mobility and this misconception is that a lot of folks feel like, well, if they can they can bend over and touch their toes, or they can do the splits, or they can twist themselves into a pretzel, that they're mobile. And that is not the case. You can be flexible, but very immobile. So flexibility and mobility are not the same thing, not even close. And this is really important to understand, because I've seen people who've become adults after being in gymnastics where they are hyper flexible, but very immobile. The joint is immobile, but they're hyper flexible. And then they've got chronic issues. So these are things that we want to understand about our body mechanics, and in optimally moving throughout the day. And as we age, knowing how to correctly move our body so that we're not perpetuating issues and having chronic pain. So one of the things that you absolutely want to have is good mobility throughout your life. And in doing those components, it's really mobility. I also want you to know is active, meaning it's motion, right? So if you are fixed in a seated position, those hips, which are mobile joints, are stuck, right? They are in a passive position and they're fused. So then the joint next to it, multiple joints next to it, right? You've got another joint on one side and a joint on the other side that should be stable, are having to compensate for that lack of mobility in your hips. This is why we have major chronic back issues for folks. We have the epidemic of sitting so much. And when you're seated or in that fixed position for long periods of time and repetitive, you're creating that fixed or locked in position and reducing your mobility. We won't even mention flexibility, right? Because you're shortening the muscles. Now, flexibility is more passive, okay? So you could do a split, but it's passive. You're doing an extension, right? Now we want to create mobility, and that's more active. So you do have to participate in an action to create mobility. You can't just sit there and find mobility. We have to move. And so that's the fun part of it. And that's what we're going to practice as we get into the 6 days mobility. And one of the things that I wanted to mention also is that joint by joint, if there's, let's say, for example, with this shoulder, the neck, having chronic neck pain, oftentimes is because of the shoulder. Elbow joint is the next one around the shoulder. If the elbow or carpal tunnel, it's constantly in pain, oftentimes it's because the shoulder has been out of alignment and it's lack of mobility, right? The muscles start getting tighter. So I'm just going to show you something really quickly with regards to the neck area. This is going to be one of the areas that I will focus on in the makeover is, let me see if you can actually see me. Okay. So neck. Remember, I was talking about how the head's forward. We want to get it back on top of the body. So alignment. And then what I'm going to do is extend or drop my shoulder down and extend my arm slightly out. And I'm doing a flexion in my hand. Okay. Now, all we're going to do is rotate and bring the ear slightly to the shoulder. And that's one line that we're going to start to open up. Okay, and then we're going to pocket the shoulder blade. Think of the shoulder blade in the back, pocket it and drive it down gently. And then we're going to turn gently and let the chin slightly come down. And then we're going to come back ear to shoulder. And then we're going to slightly lower down. So what that's doing is starting to wake up some of the tissue in here. And you're going to take a deep breath in while you're in this position. Okay. And then we're going to release that off and come back to center. So just doing that one simple movement there, I want you to feel the difference in the sides because there's circulation that comes in. And now we've got, I didn't actually test this out to do the range of motion on the rotation, but the range of motion will improve just by that one simple movement. So range of motion in the shoulder, you can reach all the way around, whereas before maybe you couldn't. I should have tested first. Okay, so if you were to test on the other side and reach around, stable in the core, reach around as far as you can, you're probably going to notice it might be a little tight, different than the other side. Okay, now just come back, that's the kind of the before. And now do the other side, flex your hand, drop it down, pocket the shoulder, scapula comes back and down, head is on top of the body, but we're dropping the ear to the shoulder and extending through those fingertips with a flexion. So your hand is flexed and you're extending. And now we're just going to slowly, gently just turn the chin down, take a deep breath in. And you can even move the arm slightly back. So we want to make sure that shoulder's not here. We want the shoulder back. And then you could bring the ear to shoulder again. And down, ear to shoulder. And then let's take that deep breath in. And then come back to center. Okay, so what you should feel is circulation, flow. And now Go ahead and try that again. Go ahead and try that again. And just notice if there's more of a range of motion. For me, that is easily probably another 8 to 12 inches without me having to do anything else or compensating, just because we're creating and assisting the body in something so simple. And so that's what I want you to understand, is that you don't have to twist yourself into a pretzel. You don't have to do major crazy things. You can do something simple, fun. It feels great. And you can do them as sit breaks or throughout your day, throughout your week, and make improvements by doing very small, doable changes. You don't have to go and I'm going to commit to working out an hour every single day. I'm not asking you to do that. That probably took 30 seconds. It can make a big difference, right? 3 minutes. I have 5-minute little sessions. I have 10 minutes. I have 30 minutes. You don't have to do long sessions to make a huge difference. What it is about being consistent, doing something every day, doing something regularly, using these as sit breaks, right? To break up those patterns where we're fixed in a location or we're fixed seated position, driving cars, flying in planes. We need to be able to know that we can move our body in those ways, and we can make a huge difference in repair. Okay, so I wanted to share that for today and to focus on that for this week. The whole month, we're going to talk about mobility. But this week, specifically, try to do that one stretch for the neck, and then join us for the 6 days. We're going to do a mobility makeover. And challenge you to join me every day, and you'll get mobility for we're going to do every joint in our body that's mobile, and we're going to restore that. And that is going to be, most likely, everything will take place in the private Facebook group. And if I'm able to stream it through there, otherwise I'll share it here as well on YouTube. But you want to sign up for that, and you can go to yogalachi.com and sign up there. Okay, I'll see you soon. Make sure you comment and let me know how it goes, and subscribe if you're not a subscriber yet.